So once again, it fails the test. So some early tests of sensitivity. A couple of things that the existing models, existing analyses that you see didn't consider was if you make a productive use of the forest instead of just burning it down, okay, the default assumption is that the forest is burned down. Well, sometimes you actually harvest a forest for its timber, okay? Some people have tropical hardwood forests. Bad hardwood timber on their floors, okay? Well, depends on how it was produced, whether it's sustainable or not, okay? But if you make productive use of that timber, then by life cycle principles, that provides a credit because you would have gotten that timber from somewhere else in the economy. If you make productive use, that reduces the carbon debt by up to 50 years. My own lab has done some analysis on what happens if you better manage the land after you clear it. By using no-till and cover crops, the carbon debt's reduced by another 40 years, according to my group. If you combine those two, because you could do one and the other, you could make productive use of the material that was cleared, and you could also do a better job of managing it. You can essentially eliminate the carbon debt. In other words, there's an awful lot of things that we haven't factored into the study of indirect land use change that will completely change the results. Instead of getting land clearing, net land conversion worldwide, you get net forestation, okay, or net additional carbon capture by what you assume. Okay, I've got 6 minutes. Again, I've talked about this allocation issue. Most human use of land is to produce animal feed, not food, roughly 10 times other uses. If we're going to take seriously, and I'm concerned about world hunger too, but I want to tell you that the data are in. We have plenty of data. We don't lack the ability to feed the world. There's plenty of calories being produced worldwide and plenty of protein. It's a shame on us that the people who need the food can't get it. It's not lack of agricultural capacity. Obesity is growing twice as fast as malnutrition. Obesity is growing twice as fast as malnutrition. Okay? The shame on us is that we can't work out the wars and the other conflicts that keep people from getting the abundant food that exists. Okay. So animal feed production is assumed to be sustainable, but biofuel production is not. Dr. Clay, why do we want sustainable biofuels and not sustainable feeds? So if biofuel production, again, is assumed to be not sustainable, the following land use practices, because we're not allocating, again, them against their environmental burdens: tropical hardwood harvest, urban sprawl, tobacco, opium, and marijuana use, okay? If the only moral use of land is to grow food, then, okay, that's it for those things. Cotton, linen, and wool, all products of agriculture. We're all going to be dressing in polyester then. I'm trying to make a point, okay? We use land to provide a lot of things, not just food, okay? And we have to make choices. We make informed choices better if we have a common set of standards that we're using and try to and work from those standards. Pulp, paper, building materials also are all land products. So once again, 3 major US crops alone produce this many calories and this many grams of protein. The human population, roughly 300 million people, use 1/10 of that amount, okay? We don't grow food. Brazil doesn't grow food, they grow animal feed. Europe doesn't grow food, they grow animal feed. I have the data. We don't grow food, we grow feed. So most of our production, including exports, go to animals. I believe we can address perceived food versus fuel conflict by providing more sustainable animal feeds more efficiently on less land. And once again, there's not time to discuss this in detail, but there are a lot of opportunities to co-produce biofuels and animal feeds, particularly as we develop the cellulosic biofuel industry. Cattle in particular are well suited to consume high digestibility grasses. This is a slide from Dr. Lee Lind, and probably have to go through it kind of quick. I'm down to about 3 minutes here. Clearly, if we were going to produce all of our biofuels on existing land, that wouldn't work, okay? It would require about 1 billion acres on the status quo. But we have the opportunity to think, to innovate, and to invent. If we improve the yields of ethanol or other biofuels from biomass, you drop the land use requirement from 1 billion acres to about 400 million. If we improve our vehicle efficiency, and we need to improve vehicle efficiency anyway, we drop it by another factor of 2.5. If we increase the biomass yield by another 2.5, now we're down to 60 million acres. If we start thinking about agricultural integration, for instance, large biomass soy, more additional ways of producing feed protein, for example, from cover crops, double cropping and other operations, you get down to negative land use change, okay? No new additional land, no additional land clearing elsewhere. Okay, so last slide here in this set, some logical consequences of indirect land use change. And again, I'm trying to exaggerate, but to make a point. If you pick up one end of a stick, you pick up the other end. So if we have an affirmative duty to avoid land use change because of carbon release or not providing enough food for people, then we have also have an affirmative duty to produce as much food as we actually can. So for example, the Conservation Reserve Program needs to end immediately, and those lands should revert to agricultural production because the CRP increases crop prices and therefore increases indirect land use change. Okay? Agricultural communities around the world must stay poor forever because if they get wealthy, it will be because crop prices rise. About the only way they can get wealthy is for crop prices to rise. By the way, increased crop prices work by and large to the benefit, not completely, they don't work to the benefit of the urban poor in the world, but they work very largely to the benefit of the rural poor in the world. Okay? We should cut down all our forests and eliminate all of our national parks and plant crops on these lands instead. That will hold down conversion of the world's tropical forests. In the meantime, give up anything else that uses land. Cotton, linen, or wool, so polyester's back big time. Wood building materials, hello, cinder blocks and concrete. The toilet paper one's going to be an ouch for us, and my apologies to Tiger Woods, but you need to give up the putter and pick up a plow and convert golf courses to cornfields, okay? Robert Zubrin wrote this, again, the proper scientific, the red line here, the proper scientific and ethical and sane way to proceed in assessing carbon emissions, whether of ethanol use or any other human activity, is to base such judgments strictly on the direct effects of the activity itself. These can be measured and therefore reduced in detail as technological alternatives provide. I'm done, right? Okay, I'm going to quit. I'll come back and maybe we'll cover some more of this at the end. Thanks very much.